What are we doing this hour? Who's gonna say it?
Lost treasures of the Midwest.
Number 1. 3 weeks ago, I lost $30 right?
Yeah.
No, for real. That's
Okay, well, let's do this. Go ahead.
when it's like fucking 68% of all you have. $30 is a big deal. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like that's the first lost treasure is my $30. Where the fuck did it go, man?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
Fucking horrible.
So
What's number 2?
Listen, let's get into the fucking lost treasures. I thought it would be cool if we covered some fucking, because I read about this shit a lot, and I figured other people might want to know about these. There's tons of lost treasures all over the Midwest. There are.
That's not true.
Yeah, there are, dude.
Yeah, there's
You have no
so
fucking
many.
clue, dude. There's a shitload. And the Midwest was full of, at one time, you had a lot of bandits. You had a lot of seafaring folk that may have come from anywhere in the world. I mean, as early as the 1700s, we had in this area travelers from Europe, you know, and things like that. And so really anybody could have been here. There's a shitload of lost treasures from the 16, 17, 1800s, right?
Yeah, so many all over the place.
Why are you guys both on your phones? What the fuck is going on here?
I got a text
I've
message,
been
man.
opening my research.
You
The
guys,
fuck?
you can't fucking yeah. So what do we So there's a shitload. There was a lot of bandits in the Midwest. I know, especially
know that.
in Indiana for some reason. Well, you know, the
We're talking about guys
talking about
that
in
just
the
drove around and
1800s.
robbed motherfuckers, or is that what you're
yeah,
talking
sure.
about?
And in the 1800s, you know, what's the Midwest now was the Western frontier for a long time.
I guess
you
if
know?
everybody was driving horses and there were no radios, me and my friends might run around and steal everybody's shit.
Right, so like some of those like old timey bank robbers and stuff, like you would
Fuck
think
yeah.
about mostly being like Wild West kind of shit, was going on in Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, Missouri, a lot of shit, you know. And so consequently, there's a ton of stories about you know, a big fucking load of gold or silver coins that they had to bury, and then they got in a shootout and
Sure.
got killed, and it was never found. There's a lot of people that don't trust banks. So, you know, like here's one. All right, if I was in the 1800s, instead of having a fucking, like right now, you can just go out and buy a safe if you don't trust the banks, and you can get a gun and whatever. Like if you're in the 1800s, yeah, I might bury my cash too. You know, I wouldn't trust the fucking banks
yeah.
either. So, and you know, there's a lot of those stories. It's like so and so buried all their fucking cash in little coffee cans all over the yard and never found them. Whatever. I thought
How
it'd be-
many have you researched? Do you got anything for us? Or?
We got a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, yeah,
Let's
we
go
got all
into
sorts
it.
of
Let's
stuff.
Let's get into it. We don't have them in any particular order, right? We're just gonna go.
No,
with-
they're just-
my story was number 1. Then
Yeah,
then
that was the
number
best
2
one.
is the
Let's start with Illinois.
sure. That's
There's-
where we live.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot in Illinois and Indiana, especially.
Right. Indiana was full. A lot of bandits in Indiana. Indiana was a wild place, though.
Yeah.
You know, and so was Illinois, really, other than Chicago and stuff.
So
but I
can
mean,
we find their money or what? What are these stories?
Yes.
Can we find this
these
shit
are
or
all
what?
available to be found still.
Okay, let's
I
talk
think
about it.
we don't have
because-
anything that's been found, right? We did all ones that haven't been found yet.
No, none of these have been found.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Let's hear about it.
Yeah. Let's check them out.
Lots of people try.
Where do you want to start?
Anywhere is fine with me. I like the Anna Bixby story,
Okay.
which is Cave in the Rock. Cave in Rock.
Cave and Rock. Is that Illinois?
That's Illinois. It's on
That's
the
Illinois.
Ohio
That's where
River.
the gathering is.
The Gathering of the Juggalos.
Isn't
Speaking of-
Cave in Rock,
I was
Illinois?
like the gathering of what?
Yeah. Speaking of
That's where it is. That's where it's
Speaking-
been for like 5 years.
Speaking of lost treasures, the guys in ICP lost their talent 25 years ago, and nobody's been able to find it.
No, they're pretty cool.
So,
Sick.
what do we got? Anna Bixby. Who the fuck is this?
Can you pass that?
So there are a couple of legends surrounding the area of Cave and Rock regarding hidden treasure. Anna Bixby's is really interesting. She was a doctor. She was like a digestive doctor. And she...
Is that what they call
Well,
that was her title?
That's what-
Digestive doctor?
No, epidemiologist.
Oh, okay.
But saying digestive doctor is much easier.
Yeah.
So she lived like a crazy ass life and married and divorced a couple of bad guys. One was a counterfeiter, a money counterfeiter who worked in a cave at Cave and Rock. And then she
What
eventually
do you mean he worked in a cave?
he counterfeited. That's where
Oh, okay.
that's where he was counterfeiting.
I
He
thought
was
he was a counterfeiter that also
No,
had a
this-
job at the cave.
That's what I thought
yeah.
too.
No.
That he was a miner or
He
something.
had a job
No,
polishing stalactites.
His job was
but
to
not
counterfeit.
stalagmites.
No.
no,
Unnecessary.
dude, not on the floor like that. All them. Fuck that.
Fuck that shit,
Forget
dude.
that.
Polish the ceiling one.
Anyway,
Oh God.
she
No way.
she did all sorts of crazy shit. She figured out people kept getting sick and dying from drinking milk, and she figured out that it's because the cows were eating a poisonous plant. So they changed the diet of cows because of her, and the reason we have milk that humans can drink is because of this
Get to the
Bixby
fucking
woman.
treasure.
All right, well, whatever. She's like this crazy ass fucking woman.
How much
She gets-
money and where do I get it?
She gets kidnapped by an ex-husband who wanted to know where her other ex-husband's treasure was hidden. And she fucking jumped off of his horse.
People just had treasure hidden all the time
Yeah,
back
well,
then.
she
That's
had
what
been
I'm talking
Wait,
hoarding
about.
wait,
money.
no. She jumped off of his horse and then.
She jumped off of his horse, and it was the middle of
That's
the
like
night,
jumping
and she
out of a
ran
car,
off a
right?
cliff, ran off a cliff and died.
That's like jump. What?
And nobody ever found where the treasure was hidden.
He wants to know if that's like jumping out of a car.
It's just like jumping out of a car.
And like they can go like 30. Horses can go like 30.
It's like jumping
Yeah.
out of a 1 horsepower car.
Yeah.
So, no, it's got to be bad. You don't want to jump off a
funny.
horse.
No,
Yeah,
but she was her
No,
hands
Superman
were,
got fucked up real bad.
her hands were tied behind her back. She had been kidnapped. This guy kidnapped her, and tried to like take her so that he could like torture the information out of her. And she had been married to this
That's
guy
the best way to get
Because
information
her
out of people.
ex-husband had treasure?
Torture.
because her deceased ex-husband
Okay,
had
so he tried
treasure
to, so
that
he wants,
had left to her, and
so
she
now
had hidden away.
she's off the cliff. She's dead. Nobody knows where her fucking treasure is.
Right.
And she had treasure buried
Hidden in a cave.
in a cave, and no
Yeah.
one knows where.
No,
But how do we know it's not counterfeit?
I suppose we don't. But
would
she,
antique counterfeit money be worth anything?
well, she was a doctor.
Okay, so she had some
so
money.
she had money.
So
and
her
she
personal-
lived modestly day to day. So everybody knew that she had money stashed away somewhere.
and her personal like fortune was never, she didn't have a bank account or anything like
No, they estimate her hidden treasure to be worth around $300,000.
God damn, and
That's
it's
a lot
gonna
of
be
money, that's
all-
a lot
and
of
what
money.
year was it?
19. Hold on.
Before cars, so it would all be silver, real
Dude,
silver.
we can
and
just
fucking-
Google treasure that shit and just go get it.
This
It'll
says
tell
that
us right
it's
how to get there
gold.
with our smartphones.
It's a lot of gold.
That it's a lot of gold.
God.
Yeah.
Oh my
Damn.
god, gold is a lot. A lot of gold is a lot of gold.
So-
I mean,
Why, this
gold is a
doesn't say what
lot, and
year
a lot
this
of gold is a lot.
A lot of gold is great.
Yeah.
What are you looking for?
Rich people eat it.
Late 1800s. This
Okay,
was.
whatever. Yeah. So, I have a lot of people try to fucking search for this thing.
Yeah, and nobody has ever been successful.
Right. There's a lot of, you know what's funny? So I got a Treasure Hunters magazine. All right, and I forget the name of it. It might be called Treasure Hunters, but I can't remember. And you'd be surprised, man, how many people are out there fucking actively going over clues, old maps, fucking old accounts, and they're really out there searching for treasure, man.
How
A lot
often?
of
How
people-
often do these people fucking actually like? Oh wow, he found this, and then the government doesn't steal it. How often does that happen?
Yeah, the government often does lay claim to such finds.
Wait, you found a bunch of money that everybody's looking for years? That's ours.
There was one in California a couple years ago that an old couple found. That might even just been this summer actually. Old couple found a big ass can full of gold coins worth like 8 or 10 mil or something, and the government took the whole fucking thing. It was part of some like old currency recall from the early 1900s, you know.
Bullshit.
And they
man.
took it to melt. Yeah. Yep, that's that. They could just, that happens a lot. All right, so let's move on.
There's another treasure legend at the Cave and Rock area as well, which is that the Ohio River was used for trafficking pirates a lot.
Oh, yeah,
So since
definitely.
it was such a vast system of caves, it's widely believed that there's
Oh, no way,
treasure
pirates?
stashed away in
Pirates
there.
don't give a shit about
Dude, see,
anything.
that's
They're
what
always
people in the
doing bad
Midwest
stuff.
people in the Midwest think it's so boring and stuff. Like the history around here is just as fucking good as anywhere, man. I'm talking like back to 1600s, maybe 16, not 15, but through the Midwest here, Illinois, and then Des Plaines River down to the Illinois and the Ohio River and all that shit. Yeah, major pirate trafficking, right? All kinds of shit.
You knew
Yeah,
that?
they're all over
Yeah, I
the
knew
place.
I didn't know that.
I researched the local history.
Really?
Yeah.
Pirates?
Oh yeah. Well, where do you think they're gonna go, man? They fucking get around on boats. They go like, if you're a criminal back then, you show up in some place in Chicago where everybody's like, or like Chicago where everybody's savvy. They know your fucking deal. Maybe you want to sail out and go try the fucking the podunks and go maybe trade with some Indians. Indians back then would just give you tons of. They had no idea the value of things. Fur traders used to take.
That's not true.
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh yeah.
Fur traders
absolutely.
used to take like compared to like the way that you'd value things in Western European society. Fur traders used to just take ridiculous advantage of the native.
What do you mean? Tell me.
Just make trades that wouldn't seem fair. I guess. I don't know. It's just a cliche. They do it. They used to do.
Like they'd give them like fucking like an ounce of salt, and they'd give them like
And they'd
4
be like,
pelts.
"This is a really, really good deal for you."
Yeah, and they, get something the Indians had a lot of that they didn't really miss, but they would not have known that they could have gotten way more for it.
These Indian guys seem really greedy.
Yeah, they So the I can't even joke about that. The what was the other fucking one in Cave and Rock?
The pirates.
Oh,
It was
so
the Anna Bixby, the doctor one, and then just the pirate treasure.
just general pirate treasure.
Well, it was a lot of people didn't know that it was just like a hub for pirate activity. So there's not one specific story to it, but it's just widely believed by people who like study pirates and people who know the area that there's definitely pirate treasure somewhere in the cave system, but it's vast.
All right, well let's move on.
All right,
What do we got next? Michigan.
Michigan, sure. High Island.
Yeah, this is a cool fucking story.
What is it?
This is a really good story. So now this we need to get into a little bit.
Can you read it to me?
High Island, part of the Beaver Island archipelago,
Archipelago.
has been the home of Native American fishermen and the House of David religious cult who resided in a village near
Jews,
High
right?
Island Bay. Yeah, they're an old Jewish cult.
Cool. Cool.
The island, which is currently, and you know what? And this is another, just as a side note, this cult was totally like, people were very weirded out by them, and then they ended up having a bunch of like weird sex scandals and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, they had
and I
some-
think they disbanded pretty much over like legal problems and stuff.
Yeah, they only existed
no,
for
dude.
like 30 years.
Jews are half reptilian and they eat their children's assholes.
Well, we'll get into that later in the show.
No, it's true. They shapeshift and eat their children.
Yeah,
their
no,
assholes.
they don't eat their own. They eat Christian children, but we'll go into that later.
No, but they eat their children's assholes. Jews. Let's go. Come on, keep going, man. Quit getting weird. It's fine.
What are you going on to here?
I'm looking at more High Island stuff. I'm just trying to find out as much about it as I can.
So the High Island was the guy that led this fucking cult. Then now this is part of the Beaver Islands thing, and didn't he proclaimed himself king of the kingdom of Beaver Island or something?
Yeah, he had like some weird delusions of grandeur.
Now
he,
did
wait,
they
he had
actually
cult follower. He had cult followers without like godlike thing, or what was he doing?
What does that question mean?
You just said that he. What was his story? I mean, how did he make people believe that he was like a king?
I don't know. Whatever. We're talking lost treasure here, but he I don't know. He declared himself a king. Who
Yeah,
cares?
that's what I'm asking about.
Do you know why? Or
No.
how? What is it? I don't even understand your question.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody knows why or how.
Yeah.
I mean,
like
did he have
everything
a,
else.
did he have like
He just
100 people
called- dude,
following
he's just
him?
a crazy fucking dude that called himself that. Yeah, it wasn't that big. It was a few hundred people.
Yeah, no, it wasn't big at all, and it
so
didn't last very
That's
long.
what I'm
either.
wondering. Like, how?
No,
how
no,
did
dude.
get
He just
people
had
to-
all. Okay, his name was Jesse Strang.
All right, give it-
STR.
yeah, get to
It's
the
worst
treasure
name
part,
ever.
though. I'm sorry for
So they
interrupting.
did have some money though, huh? Because he was kind of like a Scientology sort of deal where you would forfeit all your stuff to him. I think.
Yeah.
And
And he kind of just like embezzled everything
Right.
into his own pockets.
so what
basically.
he would have from a few hundred people is pretty fucking significant. What was the estimate on this one?
millions of dollars worth of gold currency and jewelry.
And that's in like the that's like millions of dollars like of currency, the actual currency, not by like the weight of the gold. You're talking about like millions of dollars in gold coins, or like
Combined, yeah, the worth of the gold,
so it is the worth
the
of the gold,
currency, and
because
the
like
worth
if you
of
said I
the
have
jewelry.
like 500 $1 gold coins from the 1800s, that's way more than 500.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm trying to get
no,
at.
the
But-
overall worth of the combined,
so that is a total value. They're looking at a few million or whatever.
You know why
at
gold's
least $1 million.
You know why
Okay.
gold's fresh? Because it doesn't erode. Is that the oxidize? It doesn't
Dude,
oxidize.
you're the one talking.
It lasts forever. No. Gold doesn't erode. It lasts forever. It never
What, it doesn't rust or oxidize or whatever?
doesn't oxidize.
Yeah.
It's just there forever. That's
Gold has
what's
a lot of
important.
really amazing properties, and
that's one of them.
there's a lot of reasons why
Superconductor.
it's become the most valuable thing, that people are really fucking drawn to it. You know,
Plus, you need it
It
as
is
a
right. It's got a
commodity
lot of
for cell
energy.
phones.
Yeah.
For cell phones, must have a little tiny bit of gold to complete a certain
Okay.
circuit.
So let's get to this treasure. Why do we think there's treasure there? What happened?
The cult broke up, and this guy was in a lot of trouble with the people who figured out he was just like taking their money.
And he was like, I think he was involved in some underage sex kind of shit too, right? Is that something like that?
Yeah, I don't know if he was ever
Maybe not under. It said
like,
sex scandals, and that's
convicted.
usually what it is. But,
Yeah. Well, those cults are always weird. They
they're
always have a
usually-
weird
they're
thing like that.
Usually a big fucking way around being able to fuck kids. That's usually the thing.
Being able to
That's
fuck like lots of kids.
usually what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
children brides and stuff.
guys
yeah,
are
that's what they always
crazy.
are.
Yeah.
They're always like that.
Fucking children. Weirdos.
So anyway, this guy ditched all of his stuff because everyone was out to get him. So he had him stashed somewhere on the island and never took him back to where he ran
And
off
that's
to.
it. And so
What?
nobody knows where. So
And nobody can find it.
they're
There's a
thinking
lot of
so he got taken to Wisconsin for treatment, right? And then they're thinking that somebody that worked for him would have run around and buried this fucking shit.
right.
But why wouldn't the people who have worked for him just fucking stolen it all?
Maybe
That's
he
'cause-
just still had people convinced. When you're in a cult, you're brainwashed.
But then, so why would the people who buried it not have gone back for it?
You know what I like to
You
think
know?
sometimes? Is that
Yeah.
all these cults sprung up around the same time that people were really into them in the 90s and shit. And it's like, and then right after that, all of them got murdered by the government. They were the government. It was their experiment. I mean, you know
Well,
what
like
I'm
the
saying?
Heaven's Gate cult and shit like that.
Everything. It was all the government, and they had to kill them at the end because
Well, you can't just say it's all the government. You're gonna have to explain that a little bit more.
it all happened around the same time in the early 90s. You know what
Nah,
I'm
dude.
saying?
There's been cults forever.
No, I'm talking about Heaven's Gate and Waco and all
There
that
was a
shit.
little.
Waco
there
was in
there was a
89,
little
I think.
fluctuation. No, Waco was like 94, I think.
No, it was in the...
it was in the 90s.
Yeah, it was.
Was
90,
it?
I think
Yeah,
93,
definitely.
94.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
That
I
was
mean,
all their experiments gone wrong, and they had to murder everybody.
I'm down with some of these cults being with like MK Ultra mind control people. Like, there's a lot of people that think that about Charles Manson. There's a lot of people that think that about what's his name with fucking Jim Jones, David Koresh. That theory's been put out there plenty of times. I don't think it's too far fetched.
I want to start a cult.
Well, the problem is you've never been properly mind controlled by the government.
Also, you need money.
I'm gonna take you to see some friends of mine this
You're
week. What else? People are looking for that shit up on High Island. Nobody's ever found it, but it
Yeah.
is a popular fucking treasure to search for, huh?
Yeah, and there's like weirdly specific instructions on where it might be too.
So how did they get that narrowed down?
It doesn't. There's absolutely nothing that explains why. But this one of them says the treasure is said to have been buried 30 paces from a large tree. So like why?
But isn't there...
From any
aren't there a
large
lot
honest
of...
to God,
Yeah, right.
the way that these things too, like, you can't just like, a lot of people would go, oh, it's just some stupid story, but like, these things happen for a reason. Like, somebody must have said something to someone at the time, and it spread as local rumor and became local legend. You know what I mean? It came from
Yeah.
somewhere. Whether it was a lie or not is a different story. But so it is some specific fucking.
Yeah.
area
No,
that they
back
think-
then shit was so horrible that like everybody was out to get everybody and kill anybody for their fucking gold. People and families and loved ones probably buried gold places and draw maps for their fucking loved ones. Like, hey, listen,
When
that's
I
the
get
richest.
murdered,
No,
here's where
because
you find-
because
Right.
our life expectancy is like fucking 31 because
Yeah.
we all get murdered.
I'm
There's
28.
my gold. I,
don't
love
have,
you.
I don't
you know
have
what I'm
long
saying?
to live.
Right.
I'd
Right.
like to make plans.
That's
for
what I'm
my-
saying.
For my meager
That's
fortune.
probably why it was so prevalent. That's why there's so many.
All right, let's move
cases.
on. We're going at too slow of a rate with these
You're
fucking
too
things.
slow over it.
We had the Legend of Bone Hill in Levacy, Missouri. You said this one was fucking cool, huh?
Bone
this is-
Hill.
Yeah.
This is a treasure story
Hilarious.
and a ghost story.
Well, let's have it.
All right. So there are a couple stories about Bone Hill is the name of a cemetery in Missouri.
Who would bury treasure in a cemetery?
Well, I don't know.
Somebody
Jerks.
who would know that it wouldn't be excavated.
Yeah, people who,
because it's
like-
a graveyard that's
Yeah,
unsettled. It's a good idea, actually.
I didn't think of that.
I did the same exact thing.
I would have done the same thing too.
All right. The legend of the buried treasure.
Motherfucker.
And it also involves an unearthly light, which people interpret as a ghost that appears every 7 years.
Ugh.
It's regarding, let's see,
Ghost
it was
lights.
a pre-Civil War farming family that came to the area where this cemetery is and they settled on the hill, and then they had like a bunch of slaves. And then they built like a big giant fence. The slaves built a big giant fence where he had supposedly buried his gold before he sold his stuff off and died.
All right.
So then a family used to come every couple of years and work on the land and then leave, and they would like rent the property out. And they apparently built up a bunch of money too that's buried in the same area.
Okay. So, 2 family fortunes.
Right.
And people died off and never fucking cashed them out or whatever. And nobody knows what happened to them.
The weird thing is that the original farmer.
Where is this? Sorry, go ahead.
But
Missouri.
it's also as simple as
Yeah, where
like
in
cousin
Missouri?
Robbie had a photographic memory, and you can take that paper, but I've already taken that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You didn't have to.
Maybe it's a lot of these might be fucking gone.
Gone.
And
Fuck yeah.
somebody came and grabbed them who knew where it was and didn't fucking say shit.
Yeah.
Because you know what, too?
Anything
Like-
that's anywhere that's worth something, nobody's around to see you take it. Everybody is gone.
Good, yeah.
Guaranteed. You know what am I right or wrong?
That's a great point,
Am
yeah.
I right or wrong?
Nah, you're right.
I'm right.
So, but you know, that's got to be a good point. Like we talked about before, the fucking government takes this shit so often that's probably an issue sometimes when someone dies and they might owe tax money and all this and that, and the fucking relatives are like, fuck that, dude. Let's take this and go bury it in our yard. You know, like nobody. You know what I mean?
And
Yeah.
plus,
Why would you
plus you
fucking
can
dig
collect
it
the
up?
Social Security checks for like fucking 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years before they come on that you buried your grandmother and are collecting her checks.
God, how cool would that be if, like,
You know what I'm saying?
all of a sudden you found out, like, your family had, like, a fucking fortune in gold in some old fucking mason jar that's being passed down, and it's currently in, like, your dad's yard. Like, oh, God, I'm going to dig that shit up when he's dead. Fuck, yeah.
I've been burying gold and
Who are these
silver
people
in my
that-
yard for
Alright.
like 4 years.
Well, but this
$1 million.
legend suggests that the gold is being protected by this ghost.
Oh, of
Okay.
course it is. Well,
And
that's
that-
retarded.
And the ghost only shows up every 7 years.
Okay.
That's the other
Can I
thing.
ask you a question? When you were first reading
If the
that-
ghost only shows up every 7
wait,
years, hang on a second.
I started
All
first.
right, fine.
Listen, when you first mentioned that, I was like, wait a minute. The ghost shows up every 7 years and nobody took a picture of it or has video of it? Because that in itself says it's always
Dude,
happening.
all of those stories about ghost lights are all lies. Every time I have looked into one of those in my life, I get really excited because it's like, oh, it happens like clockwork in the story. Every 7 years in October at this, and then you like look into like, because now you can look stuff up and there's so many people on YouTube, man, and you can find local paranormal people anywhere and they'll just invariably like, no, that's just made up. That doesn't happen. It's
Yeah.
like, there's no fucking ghost that happened like clockwork. I think that thing's gonna spill.
What's gonna spill?
That tobacco.
Oh,
But
my bad, homie.
it already did. So
I'm sorry.
what do we got next? This place.
you
is
know
cool,
what
though.
I'm saying,
Bone Hill looks
homeboy?
Bone Hill looks like a fucking cool place to just go to.
Yeah.
It looks like a
There's
really
like
cool
weird
stop right near
Native
Can-
American stuff that happened there before.
Yeah, let's go take a
people
vacation
turned it
to
into
Bone
a
Hill.
farm
Yeah, I'd go
area,
there.
too.
It's down near Kansas City if you're interested. It looks like there's some old fucking stone ruins and shit. It looks pretty cool. All right, what's next?
We've got LaPorte County, Indiana.
LaPorte County, Indiana.
Al Capone's stash of bootleg liquor.
Okay, this was a cool one too. So he apparently, him and his gang. Let me pull this one up. The Al Capone and his gang apparently it was like, what was it, like fucking $300,000 of
Yeah. $300,000 worth of whiskey.
That's a lot of whiskey.
Yeah. They hid it in a cave and then sealed the opening by blowing it up and using explosives.
That doesn't sound true. How can you fucking take these great lengths to fucking secure your whiskey and fucking risk blowing the entrance up?
That's
It's
the
too
whole
risky.
point.
You wouldn't go to those lengths to preserve
He
your
was
whiskey
Al
if you're gonna
Capone.
blow
Yeah, I
stuff
think
up.
they knew how to do that shit. And if it's
Yeah.
if it's way the fuck back in the cave and you know exactly how to place it, so you can, it's not like he's just gonna. He had to fucking hire somebody that knew how to do it. I'm sure.
Yeah,
we
it's not
find
like he
out-
went back there
Can we
himself.
can we find out where this place is? Because if I find that, I'll live in there.
No,
Until I'm dead.
Nobody's found it, so it's right now.
Yeah.
It just looks like rocks next to the lake.
Yeah.
So you gotta fucking go. That's gonna be a tough one. Nobody's gonna be able to find that. You gotta go out there with a fucking.
You need a whiskey-smelling dog.
Yeah, and then like
I'm a whiskey.
A metal
I'm a
detecting
whiskey
whiskey
smelling.
smelling dog.
I'm a whiskey smelling dog.
a floating bulldozer.
I'm
Start
that as
moving.
well. I'm a floating bulldozer as well. You didn't know that?
So what is that about? Where does this fucking story come from? Because I don't have it. So
Oh,
because I don't know why, but it didn't get in here.
that's I don't know what the source of the story is. I don't know who originated this. But he died almost immediately after this supposedly happened, so that's why nobody knows where it is.
All right. So
Probably
there's
'cause
fucking
those guys-
300. Do you know what people pay for old ass bourbon too? Like if you have some bourbon that hasn't been made for 75 years, I mean people pay a couple $1,000s for a bottle of bourbon like that.
Yeah,
you know?
easily.
There's
As long as it's stored the right way.
Yeah, man,
But
because
in a cave,
so-
a cave never changes temperature.
in my little fucking
What are you talking about? A cave never changes temperature.
A cave is always the same temperature.
That's bull.
No, it's not.
Bull.
That's how caves work.
Huh, okay.
All caves?
Yeah, any living cave,
What about caves with lava in them?
they'll maintain the same temperature.
Yeah. All right, let's not go too crazy with this.
Whoa. Are you telling me that you're a fucking master spelunker?
No, that's just basic cave
Yeah.
knowledge.
All right.
'Cause
So
no. What?
the ones that I like after the Al Capone ones were mostly Indiana shit. There's like a lot of fucking awesome treasure hunting in Indiana. Oh, the other thing I was gonna say about the fucking whiskey though, I'm in the little tiny bit of like bullshit sort of metal detecting and treasure hunting I've done, I've uncovered some pretty cool bottle dumps that had a bunch of like intact whiskey bottles from the 1800s with still like the words on them and like very nice, like in perfect shape kind of stuff, and it's really cool. And I've looked some of them up, and if you had them with the whiskey still in them, holy fuck, could you get a lot of money? So I know these like people are dying for these old fucking bourbons, that's got to be one of the most valuable treasures out there.
Yeah.
Couple fucking thousand, that's worth more than their weight.
If
in
I was
gold,
rich,
lot
I'd be
of
a
them.
serial killer. I'd buy old ass whiskey. Yeah, you're the dude. It's all
Well,
making
and
sense.
not to mention the notoriety that comes with them for having belonged to Al Capone, who's one of the most famous criminals of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Huge icon in terms of
All right, let's go to Indiana.
Indiana.
The Reno brothers is the one I liked. They hid $80,000, I guess. They stole in a train robbery, and they are thought to have fled to Canada back in 1868 with a posse hot on their tail. In Rockford, their home base, the Reno brothers also hid about 98 grand from another train robbery. And the treasure is thought to be between Rockford and Seymour. I don't know where the fuck Seymour is, but you can look that up.
But really, if you found it, you couldn't go into the Best Buy and buy a fucking 89-inch flat screen with like this fucking prints of money from 1804. They're gonna be like, "What the fuck is this?" You're gonna be like,
What are you
"That's
gonna do
real."
with it?
You're gonna
I
be
know.
like, "Look at the date. It's just really old." And they're gonna be like, "This is."
I've just
what?
been saving money for a long
Yeah,
time.
they're just gonna be like, "Fuck you, get the fuck out of here."
But I think I think it's mostly money back then was probably coins, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because paper money wasn't very popular
Okay,
till the
they go and
1900s,
buy.
I don't think.
Okay, that's even more ridiculous. Hey, Best Buy fucking employee. Hey, I got a
No,
sack
no,
of
no,
coins
no,
here.
no,
You
no,
just
no.
dump them out on the counter.
No,
Just
because
coins.
see, if you found like that many, see, it's not like it's unheard of to have 1800s like silver coins. I mean, you can. Why? It's not on.
It's totally unheard of to. What are you talking about?
You don't walk into a store with them. You fucking sell them.
Oh, okay. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, dude, they're solid silver. A lot of them and solid gold back then. You
Yeah.
know? So I mean, you fucking sell them.
You liquidate them into
Yeah,
American
exactly.
currency.
And you do it one at a time if you're not stupid. You don't try to fucking sell them in bulk to some weird private collector who turns out to be in the FBI.
This
you
would
know?
be a
That's
re-
how people
this
always
would re-
fuck up their treasure. You don't tell shit. First of all, when you find all the fucking gold coins, you don't tell anybody. Nobody.
Ever.
Tell no one. You tell
Ever.
no one. You sell one piece of gold a month for the rest of your life and have a great time. That's what you fucking do. You take like 5-10 grand a month and just fucking live it up, whatever. Not too rich, not too poor. You know what I mean? That's what you do when you find treasure. You don't fucking tell anyone, because that's how people. If you ever look up how these people fucking get their shit taken away, they try to sell it to private collectors without reporting it, and like. There are laws, like you're supposed to report it. I mean, because if it's owned technically by someone, or it's a fucking, technically the government has claims to a lot of lost fucking currency and shit, right? So,
If I can sell something that was like 200 grand, worth 200 grand or something like that, I would change my name to fucking Salamander, and I would fucking just start fucking like running around the fucking world punching everybody of every race until I've got every single one.
a number of gold coin caches are hidden on the grounds of Harris Farmhouse, now known as Bear Farm, which was used as a headquarters during the Civil War to smuggle slaves out of the South. This is 3 miles northeast of Madison, Indiana, at the mouth of a hollow on the Ohio. So I've been to Madison, Indiana. Really fucking cool area. Awesome. Right on the Ohio River, like little towns built into the cliffs and shit.
Never been.
Very, very old, very like Old West looking almost, you know?
Never
I
been.
could definitely
Ever.
see some treasure around there. So that's Bear Farm. What else did you want? Did you want to do anything else from Indiana?
Oh, no, I was just going to say that the Reno Brothers thing was actually even crazier than you got into.
Oh.
Where they led a gang and they went on like a murderous rampage. And they had managed to procure $400,000. That was then, the remnants were never found. But they had in total stolen that amount of money. And then they all got caught in a matter of months.
Wait a
because of
minute.
wanted
So these guys
posters.
back then tried to steal $400,000?
They had that
No.
much.
What I'm saying is, translate that to now. That means like
So
those
much money.
guys tried to steal
$4
billion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They tried to fucking just collapse the whole system.
Right,
You
that's
know
a
what I'm
lot.
saying?
That's a lot of fucking money.
That's a lot of money. They went hard.
1868, because basically you could think of, from about 1868, money's probably worth about 110, 120 times.
Right.
What it was.
So these
You know
guys are
what I mean?
taking
So
400 stacks. That's like me going and robbing some
That's
place
when,
that I got like 3 or 400 trillion.
A train ride across the country was like 74 cents. You know,
Yeah.
like, and they're stealing 400 grand.
There's this movie called 2 Bits where this kid just works all day and gathers pennies to go to the theater. It's a really weird movie.
Yeah, dude. Well, I mean, you can think of
And it's 25 cents.
I remember reading at one time, like about 100 years ago, a gallon of milk was say like 3 cents. You know, so that's about what 100th of what it is now. You know, or something. So you figure, you know, if basic necessities, you know, are at that ratio, you know, compared to the value of our currency. Yeah, back then, dude, that is an unimaginable amount of fucking money, isn't it?
It's ridiculous.
So anyway, all 10 of these gang members ended up getting caught, pretty much 3 at a time and then one final one. But what they did was, as they caught them, they hung them in a tree. Just like, you guys are fucking dead, that's it. They hung them in a tree, and
These
they
guys
left.
were so bad, they no trial, no nothing.
They just hung them. It was just...
And not even real law enforcement back then, just a posse.
No, it was a
They were probably
vigilance committee.
deputized or something.
Yeah.
Like, you guys
So
go fucking
they hung
kill
the
these
first
dudes.
three.
Vigilance committee.
Dude, how
Yeah.
crazy was
Dude,
it?
that's sweet.
How crazy
Can
was
we
it?
start a vigilance committee?
Wait, it gets weird,
How
though.
crazy was it back then that these guys are just so unstoppable, just going and killing and robbing? They're like,
Dude.
we don't even care about laws anymore. Go kill them.
Yeah.
Now.
What do you just
So,
bang on your neighbor's door and say, hey,
Here's a picture. Here's a fucking dog and a kerchief we found. Fucking smell them out. Fucking kill them.
hey, Rob, wake
So-
up, grab your torch, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. That would be awesome, dude. That'd be so much fun.
That would be.
Fucking do that shit.
Protect your
right now,
neighborhood,
if my
protect
neighbor
your-
came over like, hey, there's some fucking killers going down the street, I'd be like, dude, let me get my golf club and my fucking crowbar, and I'm gonna put on some hockey pads. We're going. Let's go.
In case there's zombies, you gotta
Yeah.
put your pads on.
Right.
All right, so they hung the first 3. Then they found the next 3. They left those guys hanging in the tree. A few days later, they found the next 3, took them to the same tree so that they could see their
Look what we
gang
did to your
members.
boys.
Yeah, and then hung them in that tree. And then found the next 3 and did the same thing to them and showed them all 6 of them. And then they found the one last final guy. And it all happened like within a week of each other.
God damn.
Dude,
So-
what was that tree's problem?
Yeah.
He was a real jerk.
How fucking big is this tree that
Yeah,
they can
right?
hang
They
like
hung
60
10
bodies in
10
it?
people. in it, yeah.
Serious? Was it?
But that's like fucked up, right? That's how bad it was.
That's how the shit was then,
Yeah.
though. You don't fucking go around stealing all the goddamn money. $400,000 was probably all the money.
Yeah, it was all the money.
That was that was all
That
the
was
money
it.
in the country. That was it. Yeah,
Yeah.
That was like
These guys stole the, like these few guys.
everybody else is like, what are we gonna fucking do, dude? Like,
Yeah, these
nobody
few
has
guys-
shit. Like, can I get a burger? Like, I'd like to, but like,
There's no money
there's no
anywhere.
fucking money anywhere. The Reno brothers took all the money.
Wait a minute. Here's what's fucked up is that they had some of them in prison, and then once they like found the other ones and started hanging them, then
you
they
can-
broke them out of prison. The vigilance committee broke them out of prison
So they could kill them.
to go hang them.
So
yeah.
they just came to the prison and took them. And,
Yeah, they were like, "That's it. You're done."
So
What do you mean?
Come on.
Wait, the government hung them?
No,
back
this.
then, you know what? You couldn't keep anyone in prison back then, anyways. If they didn't do that, those guys would have escaped. Like,
Yeah.
they would have like the guard would have had like too much pie and fell asleep, and they'd have like thrown a fucking. They'd tear up a shirt and like hook his fucking keys off his belt, that old fucking key loop, drag it back,
Yeah.
and then there'd be that moment where he'd like snore like loud, and they'd be like. And then he'd go back to his like settled state of sleep. Okay, and then they'd drag the keys, and you know
One
how
of
it
them would
goes
have
down.
saved a scrap of food to bribe the dog, so
Right.
the dog wouldn't bark. Yeah, obviously.
Actually, no. Things were so brutal back then. It would have been like they tricked a guy faked a seizure, and they got the guard to come in and then slit his throat with their fingernails. That's what fucking
Faking
happened.
a seizure is pretty effective all the time.
Oh yeah, they got to come in. Got to do it.
You gotta do it.
So what's
Everybody wallets out.
what else we got in the Midwestern Lost Treasure? By the way, we're gonna do in the future other regions of the country. We're gonna do the Southwest. That's gonna be a good one.
yeah,
But,
that'll be a good one.
But I won the contest, right, with my $30 story, because that was the best story, wasn't it?
yeah, we'll give you $1,000.
Okay.
What's the next fucking thing? So that was by the way, that was the Reno brothers. That's a fucking crazy story, man. Look them up. Why do some old West guys like that get famous and others don't? Because that was kind of cooler than Jesse James. That was like, it was like, I don't know, it was more intense at least. Like, I don't know where the fuck.
I heard that everybody had a gun back then, so there wasn't much beef like they make in the movies.
Right.
So
Well,
it
you
was
had to
like
be- yeah,
everybody
you had to
was
be more
actually
careful.
more civilized then, and it was all based off the people you knew when you saw them every day. There they are, and that's what the law is. There's no entity above that would make your day-to-day go wrong.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. What's
You didn't
the,
have no higher powers, or
What's the next thing?
I don't know.
Well, Missouri,
We
there's
need a time machine.
there is a famous Jesse James treasure that's still unfound in Missouri, in the mountains, which is worth $100,000.
Okay.
And that's like
what's the deal with
translated
that?
into our like currency worth, right?
Hold on, I'm looking
Today?
it up. I don't know how much that would be worth today.
Gold coins. $100,000 in gold coins and bullion. What the fuck is bullion?
Bullion it's
I've been hearing that for my whole life, and I never fucking knew what it meant.
bullion is gold melted down to a fucking ounce, I think. Like,
Is it?
Yeah, a brick.
That's
pound.
those fucking those bricks they have
bullion. It's like a 1 pound or 10
in
pound
the
brick.
movies. Yeah, okay.
No, that's what it is. But you can buy an ounce of gold, and that's
So he buried it near
bullion.
the
Just a square.
Des Arc Mountains, approximately 8 miles east of Gad Hills.
What? That's where I buried my fucking gold. Oh, dude, this guy probably is
Shit.
gonna steal my shit. He's gonna think it's his. I gotta go, guys.
Yeah, Jesse James is gonna steal your gold.
Motherfucker.
You're not careful.
Probably put my shit.
Yeah, that's what they say. Hey, can't go burying your gold where Jesse James buried his gold. You've heard that.
Word up.
Yeah. That's like an old that's an old jump rope rhyme that we used to do when I was a kid.
Dude, that's crazy that I read your past like that, like a
Can't
wizard,
go
isn't it?
burying Jesse James. Can't go burying your gold where Jesse James buried his gold, or else you'll get old. And that's how we used to do it. And then you jump in.
I did it. That's why I got old, you're saying?
Yeah, that's why you
You're
got
saying
old.
that's why I got old?
That's what
oh,
happened.
fuck,
You
dude.
should have listened to the fucking thing, dude.
Why didn't you tell me this earlier?
Have you,
You
been
never
watching?
told me
Have
that.
you been watching where you go on sidewalks too?
Sidewalks?
Yeah. Have you fucking checked with your mom lately to see if her back is broken? You gotta follow this shit, dude.
Dude, I've been stepping on cracks like crazy.
Yeah. You better check up on
That's
her.
not true, is it?
I think if you do it exactly right, yeah. If you do, I mean, it's not like every time, but it's got to be the right combination. It's like an eclipse. What do you got next?
Spanish cave treasure in
Cool.
Missouri.
What's this about?
Oh, Spanish people were the first ones to fucking...
They had all the Spanish and,
this-
and Franks.
I know
French,
a thing. Can I say a thing that I
French.
know?
Yeah, go ahead.
The Spanish were the first to mass produce silver coins with the stamp on them. They were the first to distribute
Oh, yeah?
those.
Okay.
And they took it out of California area.
Who, the Spanish?
Yeah.
No, they would have been
Dude,
in,
look it up. Google it, bro.
Really?
Yeah.
And so Spanish people in California invented it?
Well, they weren't in California. It wasn't called that.
What the hell are you talking about? They took it out of California. What does that mean?
It was the first silver mine for making silver coins was for the Spanish in the Americas.
Oh, okay. And they were the first ones stamping coins?
Stamping
Was
coins.
that
Well,
15,
I mean,
1600s?
well, I mean, the Romans did it way before them, but they were like first
Yeah,
one
no, but
stamping silver.
I think that's one of the ways they tell forged Roman coins is they actually weren't machine stamped at all or anything resembling that. They were like hand carved, a lot of them, and that's how they can tell
It
forgeries.
was like some silver mines in like North Dakota or like Utah, or somewhere out west. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
So whatever. Okay.
Yeah,
What do
but it
we
was-
What do we got on this fucking
it's
Spanish
interesting.
cave treasure? What the fuck's going on here?
It is reportedly worth $600,000 in gold coins.
Who hit it? What's going on with them?
Pirates. Supposedly, they don't know
Pirates
exactly
again.
who. Yeah, it's always
How do they
pirates.
find out about this shit?
I don't. It's
It's
really
rumors.
unclear.
Somebody goes and gets drunk in town and says, "Yeah, we buried him," and they're like dying.
Yeah.
You know, like we buried him. Gold to bury your uncle in.
And what's kind of weird about this place is that it's turned into like a tourist attraction where you can go and tour the treasure cave.
Okay. So it might be total bullshit.
Might be total bullshit, but it would make sense
All right.
with pirates.
Yeah, I mean, there's bound to be some shit around, man. I mean, that's why, like, I got into metal detecting in the first fucking place, is because I realized I lived in an area where there was just people carrying money around for hundreds and hundreds of
Yeah.
years. You know, just like, I mean,
Do you know
up and
what's-
down the rivers, dude. What do you think they're doing? Them all they had, maybe even not coins, but valuables of some kind. You know.
You know why I don't
That's
like
what they're
pirates,
doing. They're
though?
out there getting rich, man.
Yeah. Do you know why I dislike pirates?
Why?
It's because they're just like constantly like getting super, super aggravated over other people owning things all the time. That's what they do.
No, it's just that they fucking they don't care.
They want to own
Yeah, they just want to
things.
own things. They're
No,
not.
that's
mad
what
if
I'm
you own
saying. They're
things,
just
too.
getting super like, oh, look at that guy got some stuff. So
Give me
I'm
that
gonna-
stuff.
I
Give
want
that
that
stuff.
stuff.
No,
Because
you-
I got like a
you
boat
got it,
with all
man.
these guys that'll like hurt you worse than you can hurt me.
Yeah, you got
and
it.
You can see that.
That's what pirates do.
What the fuck?
I know. They're fucking assholes.
Why? But
I don't know. You know, it's funny that there's been, it's like we talk about serial killers tonight, like pirates. You realize how many, like, thousands or possibly millions of just ruthless, cutthroat murderers there have been in the history of the world? Like, how many pirates were there? You know, I mean, just like, who knows?
zillion.
Yeah, I mean, like, but these are all people who were just willing to just go out and just fucking jump on boats and kill people and take their stuff.
you're right. There wasn't many
And it was like
fucking
that was
pirates.
like a job you could have.
There was
it
only-
was like
Yeah,
it was
right,
like
right.
you could grow up and be a pirate.
And
Like,
also, there was only one culture that took it seriously enough to make a religion out of it. And like that's,
which was that?
Huh?
What was that?
Like the Vikings, the Nordic, you must
okay,
die
right,
in
right.
war to go to heaven. You must conquer all lands.
Well,
Shit
that stuff
like
happened in the Middle East. There was a lot of pirates there, and like a lot of like.
What I'm saying, the whole pirate thing, besides them thinking it was God, was kind of stupid, and a lot of fuckers did it. You know what I mean? Sorry for talking so quietly. It's a radio show that I'm doing.
So what else? What else we got here?
Those were all my favorites. There's like a bunch of Civil War, like Colonel Porter buried $30,000 in gold coins and silverware in Missouri
Oh, yeah?
while he was fleeing from Union soldiers.
That's
And then-
the ones, man. They're all over the fucking place. They're like, there's just that. Think about how common that situation was back then when you were responsible for your own gold and silver and you had it hidden somewhere. Well, fuck, you don't always just get to die happy in bed. You know,
Yeah.
shit happens. Fucking get dragged away in a war sometimes. Thrown in some weird fucking old.
Or they like take 4 horses and like tie them to your arms and legs and rip your fucking ass apart and shit.
Oh yeah.
Dude, back then shit was serious.
Yeah, it's
They
true.
weren't fucking around. Dude. If you had some gold, you need to fucking go take your gold and bury it until like
You need
your-
to tell somebody though. See,
Tell
that's
like,
the
Yeah.
thing.
tell
I'm
like your
thinking-
sister that you're attached to.
the more we're talking about this, I'm thinking what has to be the case with a lot of these is that somebody came and got the treasure immediately and didn't tell didn't tell anyone. You know what I mean?
Why would you? You
exactly.
promised not to.
That's got to be the case in a lot of these fucking lost treasures. Is somebody fucking just knew where it was. The fucking dude that survived just came and grabbed it, you know?
They were like, "Did you find it?" And he was like, "No, I didn't see shit.
I didn't fucking see anything.
Can you guys help me tomorrow? I'll be out there bright and early." You show up after going to the strip club, all fucking sweating
by
and
the
shit,
way,
taking ecstasy and acid.
Do you know
show
where
up like,
do you
let's
know where
look
I
for
can hire a butler?
Butler.
The top 10 lost treasures in Illinois. Did we do all these or we?
Yeah, we did
fucking-
the best ones off of
We
the
did the
list.
best one?
I'll post the whole list on the
So yeah,
Facebook.
we've been talking lost treasures of the Midwest. There's a lot of them out there. There's a lot
I
of
do have
fucking-
one more
What's
cool
the,
one.
Let's do one more cool one.
One more cool one is the Lost Silver Mine of Yoakum.
Yeah, I read that one. That's
Which is-
it was a Native American, like, was that the what? No,
No,
Let
there
her
was
tell
a-
it. Tell it.
there
What
was
is
a
it?
Native-
What is
there
it?
was
Yeah,
some
wait,
Native
shut up,
American
dum dum.
mine.
What is it? You just.
it was a Native American silver mine.
well, it says it's believed to contain not only a mine full of silver, but a fortune of Spanish wealth and Indian jewelry. So there's just like a completely lost thing. Let's see, 1541, Spanish explorers went there in search of gold, and they found silver instead and mined it from a cave. Then the Indians attacked and killed
this
most
is what
of them.
this is what I was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. But they had no use for the fortune because it had no value to
as
them.
we've discussed, the Native Americans were a very selfish people.
Yeah.
And they were known for things like this.
So they went through and mined a bunch of silver and stored it in a mine.
Those guys used to kill animals and like use everything because they didn't want any bit of their body to be at rest.
Right.
They fucking said, "Well, no, we can't bury the fur. We can't."
How
we're
selfish
gonna-"
is that?
Yeah,
we
it's
can't
so
leave.
selfish.
We can't leave a
anything.
single little piece of the animal
Yeah.
for burial or any
God,
kind of
ass fucking
Fucking
holes,
assholes.
man.
Ass fucking
Redskins.
holes.
Yeah. All right, go on. Sorry.
You can't be whatever. Go
So
ahead.
anyway, they stashed these like silver bars and jewelry and stuff, and then they got diseased and died off, and it's some ancient Indian secret now that nobody can find, hidden up in the Ozarks.
So the Native Americans hid everything.
Yeah, they hid it.
And
They
then the
hid
tribe-
it all in a mine.
And the tribe basically died off.
Yeah,
and that's that.
They got sick. That's called.
They
Black
got
Rot.
sick. They were holding fucking.
So they had a mini. They had a little mini plague.
No,
go
they
on?
were they were holding commodity, and it was theirs legally. So they all got sick and died. Okay.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So yeah, so it could
That's
be
what it is.
You know what? It could be some of that. That's funny.
Remember
that's
what
funny.
I said earlier?
I wonder
if
if that-
there's
I want-
stuff
what-
that people can take and
They
can do
received.
it
They,
without
re-
getting in
they
trouble,
received
they'll do
a mass shipment, a mass shipment of blankets, wool blankets that said "care of U.S. Gov" on them, and then 3 weeks later they were all dead.
Dude, those blankets
And
are
the-
so
and the-
comfortable
And the treasure
sandy.
was never found. That's like
Sure.
Yeah.
Like so we're so naive too as just a species. Like you want to believe cool stories like this, but man, it has to be the case overwhelmingly that this shit was just the story's bullshit because somebody just doesn't want you to know they fucking have all the fucking treasure. Like
Or like
Yeah.
that's probably true.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna take us out to break because you failed last hour. Here we go.
all right,
Put me on some beat, like bring it in real slow and nice, and like like to make me sound good.
Well,
and
let me
say-
just let people know. Hey, we're gonna come back in like after like 2 or 3 songs. We're gonna come back and talk sharks, ghosts, aliens.
Oh, really?
What else?
UFOs.
Oh my god! I hate
I said
all
Animal
of
aliens.
those.
attacks.
Oh, we're gonna do more police news. We got
Ghosts.
to talk about the impending race war
Race
that
war.
the media is trying to create.
Yeah,
in
let's
this
talk
country.
about the race
We're gonna talk
war.
about the
We
race
got
war.
Religious cunts.
We got a segment called Religious Cunts coming up. where we talk about all the fucking useless, like, religious dogma.
And I'll say something illegal, I promise. There we go.
And as always, we do promise, my co-host here will say something illegal. And I guess you want to take us out to the break, right?
Yeah. What are you going to play? Cool. Gyroscope's cool. I think I said it once earlier in the show. Welcome to the future where you're an asshole, so shut the fuck up and listen to our stupid show, you prick motherfucks.
Right. We will be back on the Sunday Evening Overdose.
Stop
it is
being an
December
asshole.
14th. We'll be back in a minute.
Strap with the comic.